Good evening, this is Viewpoint. I'm Zakir Jacob. After Partho Chatterjee, it's now the turn of Anubrata Mondal, another senior TMC functionary to be arrested by the Enforcement Directorate. And embarrassingly so, Mondal is being linked to a massive cattle smuggling scam. The TMC predictably saying that all of this is the centre using agencies like the ED, CBI, etc. as instruments to settle political scores. But the bigger question is, how long can Mamata Banerjee continue to defend such rotten apples? At some point, will the allegations not stick to right at the top?
Two weeks, two aides of the Bengal Chief Minister, two big setbacks for the Trinamool Congress. After the Enforcement Directorate arrested former State Minister Partho Chatterjee in the SSC scam, today the CBI arrested TMC leader Anubrata Mondal in a cattle smuggling case. He was arrested for not cooperating in the probe after twice failing to turn up for questioning. This morning, a CBI team of 8 officers turned up at Mondal's house, but he locked himself in a room on the second floor. He allegedly refused to sign the arrest warrant brought by the CBI team. Only after the CBI threatened to bring in paramilitary forces to break open the door did he reluctantly step out. Mondal is known as the Bahubali leader of the TMC in Birbhum. He is the founding member of the party in the district and is a close aide of Mamata Banerjee. He popularized the political slogan Khela Hobe, which dominated the 2021 West Bengal Assembly elections.
Khela Hobe!
অনুব্রত মণ্ডল যে একজন মাফিয়া এবং মমতা বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায়ের প্রশ্রয়ে আশ্রয়ে একটা মুদির দোকান থেকে যে ভাটে মাগুর মাছ বিক্রি করত সে আজকে 1000 কোটি টাকার মালিক তো মমতা ব্যানার্জির সৃষ্টি
এটা একটা ওয়েল অর্গানাইজড ক্রাইম হয়েছে ওয়েল অর্গানাইজড সিন্ডিকেটের মাধ্যমে হয়েছে যেখানে পুলিশ জড়িত তৃণমূল জড়িত নেতা জড়িত বিএসএফ জড়িত
Days after Partho Chatterjee was arrested, the TMC removed him from all posts, claiming it has a policy of zero tolerance towards corruption.
Trinamool will be the last one to tolerate any kind of irregularity or corruption when it comes to such kind of incident which is cropped up in the public domain. And there will be zero tolerance approach towards corruption.
But with the arrest of 2 prominent leaders, does TMC's zero tolerance policy claim ring hollow?
All right, we're just getting in breaking news. After Anubrata Mondal's arrest, the TMC will now hold a protest at 3 p.m. tomorrow, questioning the neutrality of the CBI. This, of course, has been a pet peeve of the opposition parties, that agencies like the CBI, ED, etc. are being used by the central government to settle political scores. Let me go across to Shogoto Mukhopadhyay, who's joining us with more details on this. Shogoto, so the TMC now to hit the streets in a way for Anubrata Mondal that they did not do for Partho Chatterjee. Why is that?
Well, clearly, Jaka, there seems to be 2 different party policies that are being, worked out as far as the Trinamool Congress is concerned, vis-a-vis Partho Chatterjee and Anubrata Mondal. Whereas in case of Partho Chatterjee, we did see that the Trinamool Congress, although initially had spoken about Partho Chatterjee's charges or the allegations against him, we first proved in a court of law, and only then would the Trinamool Congress take adequate steps. But we did see that in a couple of days later, the party took a U-turn and removed him from all positions, both within the government as well as in the party. As far as Partho Chatterjee is concerned, we do know that the case has not even gone for trial at this stage. However, for Anubrata Mondal, the party seems to be singing a different tune so far, and from what we are gathering from the official comments that are being made by leaders like Chandrima Bhattacharya and Shomi Chakraborty, is that the party, besides stating that it would stick to its zero tolerance policy on corruption and other wrongdoings by its leaders, however, is also raising the question on the neutrality of the central agency, stating that it is only selectively targeting the Trinamool Congress leaders here in Bengal, and that's the reason why they are, planning a protest. The party is planning a protest of its, student and youth workers in Kolkata tomorrow.
Okay, sure, we'll leave it at that. Let's see how the story plays out tomorrow. As far as the TMC is concerned, they are hitting the streets tomorrow at 3 o'clock to protest against the lack of neutrality of the CBI, as they put it. Let me now go across to our guests who are joining us on this broadcast. Priyanka Tibrewal is spokesperson of the BJP in West Bengal. Manojit Mondal, TMC spokesperson. Professor Gargi Roy, political analyst. And Kabir Shankar Bose is a lawyer with the Supreme Court. Manojit Mondal, let me start with you. So first it was Partho Chatterjee in the recruitment scam. Today it is Anubrata Mondal in the cattle smuggling scam. There are also senior IPS officers linked to a coal scam. How long can Mamata Banerjee seek refuge in the fact that, these are lower lung officials? She doesn't know what is going on with them, because at the end of the day, these allegations will stick and will stick at the top.
But these are, after all, allegations. Despite the fact we do have a zero tolerance to corruption, but you have to think about it in the context. If suppose, just give me 1 minute, there are issues about cattle smuggling. Where are they coming from? Why do they go? Who are responsible? Is it the handiwork of only 1 or 2%? It cannot be, because for all the benefit of your people, West Bengal, it does not produce this cattle. They come apparently from the northern part of India. So even you have to, if you go for inquiry, and then where do they go? Where do they go? Out of the country to apparently to Bangladesh. So there is a huge network. If at all there is a case, I repeat.
Manojit Mondal, is it your contention that these cattle are smuggled from Hindi? No, 1 second. Manojit, 1 second. Manojit, 1 second. Manojit, is it your argument, is it your contention on national television that these cattle are being smuggled from UP and Bihar, brought to your state and then taken into Bangladesh or wherever, and it is some kind of all-India nexus and your leaders have nothing to do with it? Surely the CBI has some case against Anubrata Mondal. Surely those cattle are not just walking away from UP and Bihar, making their way into Bangladesh.
You will give me some indulgence to speak. If I'm saying something, let me speak, let me come. If there is a case, BSF people have been arrested. What are we talking about? BSF people have been arrested. This case is, I think, 5-6 years old. Maybe you are not aware of the cases. And again, if there is a case, we want to know the exact network of this case. But you people are, even in the BJP and the CBI, they have singularly targeted only TMCs. Many people argue that in Murshidabad, there is a very big leader who doesn't belong to TMC, who has been doing this for the last 30 years. With whose help? And if, again I repeat, if there is a case, why do they go? If they are crossing the border, who is responsible? It is the central government under their nose, border security force.
Okay, Priyanka Tibrewal, respond to both those charges. One, this is another example of the central government using agencies like the CBI, IT, ED, etc. to settle political scores. And B, obviously, if this cattle is being smuggled into Bangladesh, then what is the BSF doing about it?
So firstly, I will like to say that this arrest which has come, that was very imminent, and we all knew that this would happen, because this investigation in these matters, and not just the cattle smuggling, he is involved in many other matters, which are, even the coal scam is there, and other many cases. Recently, the Baktui Kand, which happened in Birbhum. So whatever Mr. Mondal is now saying is to shift the focus. But you see, nothing matters, because no matter how much they cry foul, because they're at the receiving end, and they will do so. If they have any kind of difficulty, they can proceed to the Supreme Court or to the High Court, wherever they wish to. Initially, Mr. Anubrata Mondal, when he was aggrieved by the 160 notice which was given to him by the CBI, he did go to the High Court a number of times, seeking protection, asking for, deterring these notices, showing his several ailments. But he did not get a relief, and the court told him that go face the investigation.
But ma'am, what about the question I asked? Ma'am, what about the question I asked? If these cattle are being smuggled into Bangladesh, surely the BSF should have known about this.
That is what I'm saying. What Mr. Mandal said, that there were many arrests which were made, many officers were arrested. Even in this coal scam, there are many IPS officers, there are many IS officers who have also been given notices. They will all be questioned. We have no difficulty. Whosoever is involved should be arrested and they should be questioned. Now today it is Anubrata Mandal. It's a matter of shame, and how brazenly TMC is defending. They were defending Partho Chatterjee also a few days back.
Okay.
Then what happened?
No, but
Came
I
out.
think there's a
See,
clear
they are very
difference.
thick-skinned
There seems to be a
Can I
clear
respond?
difference. No, 1 second, Manojit. I've got two other guests also. I want to go to them before I come back to you. But there seems to be a clear difference in the way the TMC almost dropped Partho Chatterjee like a hot potato, but they are going all guns blazing against Anubrata Mondal and the kind of treatment that he is allegedly receiving at the hands of the CBI. But anyway, Professor Gargi Nandi Roy, the point is simply this. I think whether it is the recruitment scam, whether it is this cattle smuggling, whether it is the coal scam, all of it seems to be pointing to this familiar idea of cut money culture, this syndicate, allegations that opposition have been making, not just the BJP, the Congress has been making that, the left front has been making that for a number of years against Mamata Banerjee. But she seems to be winning election after election, including the historic third term that she got last year. The question is it not sticking to her, or is it only a matter of time before it starts sticking to her?
I think it has started sticking to her. It is quite obvious to the people also now that the rise of Anubrata Mondal from a fish seller on the footpath to the owner of 1,000 crores and to the stature of Chota CM in Birbhum, what he has been known as. And why only cattle smuggling? He is the kingpin of coal smuggling. He was the mastermind behind post-poll violence. If you have heard him, Zaka, I don't know if you have heard him, he openly asked his men to hurl bombs at the police. He is not an MLA, not a minister, not an MP, yet he summons the district magistrate and superintendent of police. So that is his power. People had to flee Birbhum. So what is Mr. Monojit Mondal is an educated person. He is in such a mode of denial. I know he has to defend the indefensible today. It is very difficult job that he is doing. And Mr. Anubrata Mondal, he has been heard. He is telling, কথা শুনছে না গাঁজার কেস দে দে means anybody is not listening to him. He's openly saying, asking them to frame in drug cases. Such was his power, and the administration with full force tried to save him. So tell me one thing, Zaka, if he had 1,000 crores, his bodyguard, a constable getting a salary of 20,000 has 150 crore property. Imagine the money that went up. So it was not done by Anubrata alone. It is a corporatization of corruption. You know, the tragedy is the land of Tagore, Birbhum, is now known for a mafia, for a Bahubali like Anubrata. And that saddens us. And you know, the political rot in Bengal has gone so deep that it has caused a socio-cultural degeneration. And the backbone, the spine of a section of Bengali society is broken. Be it a section of medical fraternity, police, or even the intelligentsia. They don't speak.
But I want to ask Kabir Bose a very simple question. A very simple question. The contention of Mr. Mondal's lawyers is cattle trade is not illegal as per law, certainly not in the state of Bengal. If there is illegal smuggling that is happening, then by all means, if it has to cross the border, then what are the security folks there doing, this BSF which guards the Indo-Bangladesh border? It is they who should be held to account first. And secondly, the point that they are making that, trading in cattle, yes, the CBI is today saying it's illegal smuggling, but trading of cattle, as long as it's not deemed illegal by the state, anybody is free to trade in cattle.
Zaka, this is just the beginning. Anubrata Mondal has been arrested today. And just give it time. We'll have to give it time. We can't jump to conclusions that what's illegal, what's not illegal. Look, Mondal, a district president of TMC with 1,000 crores in his bank. His security guards, 150 crores. Where is the money trail? Where is the money trail heading to? There have been many voices in West Bengal which has continuously been saying that the highest leadership of the ruling party, they are involved in all these illegal activities.
Okay.
This is just the tip of the iceberg. We've seen Partho who is denied that it's his money. We've seen other cases also where people say, okay, time will say where this money is going to, or what is the root of this corruption. Now, coming to your other question, whether there's illegality or not, why has Mr. Mandal, Anubrata Mandal, been avoiding the summons? He's avoided about 10 summons. You know, law should take its own course. He tried to go to SSKM Hospital once again, which has been shamed by the Honorable Calcutta High Court as a haven where TMC politicians take umbrage. He tried to take umbrage there. He was refused admission, and then the arrest came. Therefore, give the investigating agency time to go to the root of this, what illegal activities have taken place, and where does the money trail lead to?
Manojit, let me ask you, you know, at a time when Mamata Banerjee is being very open about her national ambitions, at a time when she's throwing her hat in the ring to be one of the potential opposition faces, if you will, to take on Mr. Modi in 2024, these images of some of her closest people, whether it is a Partho Chatterjee today and Anubrata Mondal, tomorrow we don't know who, are coming out, and these pictures of wads and wads of cash being recovered from Arpita Mukherjee's flat. I mean, doesn't this undermine Mamata Banerjee's own credibility and her own ambitions for a larger national role? Because she has to explain to the people of India, forget about the people of Bengal, but to the people of India, why is this happening right under her nose?
I expect your gracious indulgence because this is a 4 versus 1 debate, so it will be equal time.
You're capable of taking on more than 3, Manojit, don't worry.
No.
You're more than capable of
very humble professor doing the job for my party, right?
Yes.
The fact remains that this has been doing around for the last 5-6 years. Look at the kind of mechanism, the kind of muscle power, media power, money power you had 1 year back. Two of the most powerful men in Asia to take on one single lady, probably 5'6", 1 inch height with Hawaii chappal and so on. And yet, she could defeat.
Hawaii chappal and sari.
That's the image
no longer do, Mr. Mandal.
Jaka.
Ma'am, 1 second. Let him finish. As he says, it's 3 against 1. So please bear him some indulgence. Okay, Manojit. But Manojit, finish. But Manojit, why don't you stick to the question that I asked you? Yes, Hawaii chappals and white sari is fine. But please, how does one explain such high-profile corruption scams right under the Chief Minister's nose?
No, that's what I'm sticking to the question. I come back to the same, analogy. When the banks were getting looted, these people were being shown with the Prime Minister. I mean, did the Prime Minister know everything about it? When Mr. Jai Saha's, property, went up to whopping 1,600 or 16,000% in 2-3 years, did Mr. Amit Shah know about it? When Nitish Pramanik had these 12 cases of murder, dacoity, rape and whatnot, did Mr. Amit Shah know, and that's why he was made the Home Minister for the state? I mean, let us not go into all this detail. If there is a case, again I repeat, if there is a case of cattle smuggling and it has to be credibly proven by the agency, which should be apparently neutral. There is no neutrality. You are saying that one person dropped Anubrata's name. First of all, we really don't know whether he is arrested as an accused, and apparently saying that 160 is not an accused, for an accused is meant for a witness. So if you are the witness, you are arrested for non-cooperation.
Mr. Mondal, there are 2 points. No, 1 second. There are 2 points which beg an explanation. There are 2 points which beg an explanation. There are apparently direct linkages that the CBI is claiming that Mr. Mondal was directly in touch with the prime accused Inamul Haq. Now, number one, what is a senior TMC leader doing directly in touch with the prime accused of a cattle smuggling case? And number two, 1 second. Number 2, let me just finish. Number 2, Mr. Mondal was served as many as 10 notices by the CBI. Right. If he was so innocent and if he was so above board, why didn't he just show up? Why didn't he just appear for one of the notices?
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, very quickly.
If on the basis of dropping off his name by someone and accused, if you arrest him, then why are you not arresting Shubhendu Adhikari? Because he's also charged in a corruption case. Again, that case is happening under the Supreme Court direction. CBI is inquiring, ED is inquiring. What about Hemanta Biswa Sharma? There lies the question of CBI neutrality. If one person is someone arrested for the corruption charges.
Okay.
You cannot discriminate.
So
That is the
Priyanka
point that we
Tibrewal,
are raising.
respond to both
If
those
he is-
points.
he is
Number
corrupt,
one, there are
face the law.
allegations
But the
against leaders of
CBI
your
is
party.
not
One second,
acting
Manojit. Let me ask Priyanka
apparently
Tibrewal. Let me
innocently
ask
or
the question
neutral.
that you asked. There are leaders of your party, Shubhendu Adhikari, Himanta Biswa, all of whom
He was seen
there were
taking
charges
money.
against them in Narada, Sharada, etc. What has happened to those cases? Number one. Number two, and I think this is an important question. When Mamata Banerjee faced re-election in 2021 last year, this was under the cloud of Sharda and Narada. Clearly, the people of Bengal gave her a historic third mandate, a bigger one than the first two, because Sharda and Narada didn't seem to matter to the electorate of Bengal. So why should cattle smuggling or recruitment scam matter?
No. Now again, I will answer to this question that it is not about TMC or Mamata Banerjee. It is about corruption. It is about the smuggling which is going on. It is about any kind of illegality which is happening. And BJP is not responsible or taking care of all these things. It is being done on the order of the Honorable Court. It is being investigated by the ED and by the CBI. Now, no matter how much they cry foul, I am just saying that whatever Manojit Mandal is asking BJP, he should go and ask the ED and CBI. If they do not answer, go to the court of law, ask your questions
Look at
there,
the
and
answer.
shamelessly and brazenly laughing, they are so thick-skinned when chappals are being
I
heard
pity
on
you,
their
madam,
faces,
for answering
they
like
still
this.
laugh.
I pity you.
They
I'm not
still
laughing.
laugh.
I'm
Now
laughing
it
out
is
of
a
pity.
matter of shame. Mamata Banerjee should answer why one after the other our people are involved in such crimes, and that is the reason they are being arrested. And this chappal which is being thrown on them is actually meant for the TMC party and their supremo.
Professor Gargi Nandi Roy, again, it's not just Mamata Banerjee who's saying that agencies are being used by the central government. We have seen that Aam Aadmi Party saying that same thing here in Delhi. We've seen the Congress Party in the back of, Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi being questioned by ED. So, many opposition parties. Uddhav Thackeray has said that part of the reason why his party split was because of the fear of ED. Many opposition parties are accusing the centre of using ED, CBI, etc.
Can you just
No.
repeat?
I said it
you
is
asked
not
why
just
opposition it is
it's,
used.
it's,
That was the
it's
question,
not
right?
just Mamata Banerjee. It's a whole host of opposition parties who are accusing the centre of using agencies like ED and CBI. So, is there some credibility, some merit in that argument? Because it's not just one opposition leader who's saying this.
I think that is a very easy excuse for the opposition. Everything is in the open. Be it the ED in Maharashtra or be it in Bengal, we have seen how many people are suffering because of the teachers scam, teachers recruitment scam. So it is very open. And about the public perception, Zaka, today also when the police was taking, the CBI was taking Onubroto, people were shouting chor chor. The other day when he was as SSKM, people were shouting chor chor, goru chor. So the perception is very bad. Even about the CBI, the perception of people in Bengal is CBI was not working properly because he evaded 9 times. And imagine an entire system tried to save. So this is just an excuse. And problem with TMC people are that if you ask them a question of math, they will give you answer of history or geography. They will do all sorts of whataboutery, forgetting that when Shubhendu Adhikari was in their party, he was innocent. Now again, after coming back to BJP, Mukul Roy and Arjun Singh went back. Now they are innocent. So they do everything with convenience. And when they give example of Mehul Choksi and all, may I please remind my respected Mr. Manojit Mandal that Mehul Choksi was never part of BJP, never part of parliament, never a MP. But the Keshto Onubroto was the closest aide of Mamata Banerjee. And Keshto was never, she did all those reshuffling in the party, but Keshto was never changed. Why? He was known as the highest collector. Do you know that? Highest collector.
Shubhendu Adhikari is part of
collector.
BJP.
Okay, I'll give the final
so you
word.
have
I'll
the
give the
check
final
power
word to Kabir. Let's pull out from the political spokespersons. Kabir, final word. Again, it comes back to many of these cases. You can keep the pot boiling. They will go on. We know the criminal justice system. We know the time it takes in our courts. Ultimately, very, very few cases of corruption in India have been proven against political netas who have occupied office. So why should we believe any of these cases, whether it's Partha Chatterjee's recruitment scam, whether it is Anubrata Mondal's cattle smuggling scam, will get proven in a court of law in a reasonable period of time?
That's speculation, Zaka. Time will say. Time will tell. I mean, and also pictures don't lie. If you recall, also on your channel, also on every national channel, those mountains of cash which were recovered from that lady's home, Arpita Mukherjee, the threats given by Anubrata Mandal, these are all on record. What will happen in a court of law will happen in a court of law. It is time consuming, but the law has to take its own course. Let that law take its own course and let the guilty be punished. That is the process of law, without blaming that any political party is involved or something like that. These people are corrupt. I mean, we've seen the money, we've seen the threats, we've seen the cash.
All right, I've got to wrap up. I want to thank all our guests. Thank you very much, Manojit Mondal, Priyanka Tibrewal, Professor Gargi Nandi Roy, and of course Kabir Bose for joining us with their thoughts into what is yet another massive embarrassment really for Mamata Banerjee, because one of her closest aides, Anubrata Mondal, the TMC strongman of Birbhum, has today been arrested by the CBI. Meanwhile, the other big political story, the war over freebies, going to a whole new low today. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal launching an all-out attack on Prime Minister Modi and questioning the centre's financial conditions. Our chief alleged that the centre is opposing freebies because it does not have money after waiving off loans of its super-rich friends. Without mincing words, Kejriwal further attacked the centre and asked why the 8th Pay Commission has not been mulled yet, and also asked why is the centre not able to give pension to veterans. This comes a day after the Prime Minister said that Revdi culture is a burden on the economy and barring India from becoming Atmanirbhar.
ये रेवड़ी कल्चर जो होता है, दरअसल ये टैक्स पेयर्स के साथ भी और उस जनता जिसकी मदद करनी सबसे ज्यादा जरूरत है, उसके साथ ये सबसे बड़ा छलावा होता है.
इन्होंने अपने दोस्तों के, इन्होंने बहुत सुपर रिच लोगों के, जो अरबपति लोग हैं, ऐसे लोगों के इन्होंने 10 लाख करोड़ रुपए के कर्जे माफ कर दिए.
झूठ बोलने का नया कीर्तिमान बना दिया. दिल्ली मॉडल हो गया है फेल. अरविंद केजरीवाल आकर झूठ की लगा रहे हैं रेल. जब आपको चुनौती देने भारतीय जनता पार्टी आती है तो वो विश्वसनीयता के आधार पे आती है, ठोस आंकड़ों के आधार पे आती है.
All right, we're getting the government's reply now to Arvind Kejriwal. The government source is saying that nobody is saying that free benefits to the poor are wrong. It is wrong to classify loan write-offs as some kind of freebies. The government is ready for a debate on freebies on this issue with Arvind Kejriwal. Let me go across to Pallavi Ghosh, who has more details on this. So, the government seeking to introduce a distinction between welfareism on the one hand and freebies on the other. But how are you going to explain that to the people?
Yeah, so what the government, to the quick example, Zaka talked about free electricity. That has been the hallmark of the government in Delhi. Pretty promised that in other states as well. Government sources are telling me is that, for example, you made a promise that you are going to provide free electricity, but you also made a promise to all the distribution companies or the discoms that you are going to pay them. That payment hasn't happened. Punjab Chief Minister comes to Delhi, appeals to the Prime Minister that at least I want a 1 lakh crore special fund for Punjab, which means you don't have the money. So if you don't have the money, why do you make these kind of promises? This is freebies. When you talk about a tax waiver or you talk about loan waiver, farm loan waiver, they are welfare measures. They are not freebies. This is what government sources are making a distinction between. And I think the big point which the government is trying to tell us also that if Arvind Kejriwal really wants to have a debate and discussion on freebies, don't indulge in a perverse, inaccurate argument that the government is also treating health and education as freebies, which is actually not correct. And therefore, we are open to a proper debate and discussion on this on the floor of the House.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Pallavi Ghosh, many thanks for joining us with those details about the government's response now to Arvind Kejriwal. We'll have more on this at 7 o'clock on Plain Speak. On the other side, Anusha will join you with the biggest exclusive tonight.